Hello HEMA friends. Today I will talk you about armored fighting. More in the specific, I will show you a project which was made by friends of mine here in Italy. The name of this project is Rubeum Ferri and is a tournament that tried to recreate as best as possible the armored fighting of the 15th and 14th century. Rubeum Ferri is a project made by Mauro Carapacchi and Signorini Marco. Their main interest is on recreating a good armored fighting as close as possible to a real one. Because, of course, it is impossible to do a fight where one of the participants may die, they focus their research on historical tournaments, especially on events historically held during peace times. Mauro and Marco are armor enthusiasts, and they are long-data reenactors. So they decided to study on sources how medieval knight would interpret a fight in the list. Everything has begun with the Italian translation made by Marco Signorini and his girlfriend Benedetta Macora of the book Deed of Arms, written by Steven Malberger. From there they tried to figure out a good mentality of a knight and an historical rule set for the competition. Reading original chronicles and having a good analysis over them let us understand what a medieval man could think when he was looking to a tournament. They wanted to see bravery, skill, and the beauty of the art. So the fighter, a real knight or a squire, must incarnate all those values to be recognized as the best of the best. Knights were specialized fighters. They trained for all their lives for this unique purpose. They trained hard. They hired masters and they fought in war and in tournaments. Every time they had to show their skills to their equals and try to emerge by gaining favors of the noblemen and women. This project, Rubeum Ferri, wants to bring armored fighting to this level of skill. It is not important to score points, because it is more important to show how a knights fight. We often read on chronicles that the knight of the past fought at 3, 5 or even 7 blows of spear, poleaxe and sword. This was Mauro and Marco's great challenge, understanding what those blows meant. After some attempts, they arrived to their own conclusions, and so they created their own deed of arms. The rule set is inspired to the historical environment mentioned before, and works in this way. The two fighters have a total number of blows to strike, for example, 7 blows with the sword, or 5 with the sword and 5 with the poleaxe. After throwing those blows, they are judged by the other fighters participating to the tournament. Mauro and Marco want to push fighters not to be the best scorer, but to be the fighters that incarnate at best knight values and fighting skills. Blows are just a counter to the end of the round, and it really doesn't matter much if one scores the most of the blows. If blows are given in a bad way, they are inefficient, and without technique, judges will surely give a neutral or negative score to the fighter. If a fighter gives few blows, but he can execute a technique, or it shows a good management of fighting skills, he will receive a positive judgment. To be clear, points are given this way: -1 for a bad performance, 0 for a medium performance, and +1 for a good performance. Every participant to the tournament is a judge, and at the end of the match will express his vote for each of the knights that fought the duel. There is no need to have a winner and a loser in each round. It can happen to have two having a positive judgment or a negative one. At the end of the day of fighting, there is a count of votes, and so the winner of the deed of arms is finally declared. To simulate this kind of mentality during a deed of arms, participants are pushed to have a great number of fights and to deal with opponents aiming to show fighting art, bravery, technique, elegance, and of course, chivalry. But above all, they have to fight in a correct way. A knight must have a good choice of actions, time and measure. They must know how to use a weapon. There are no limits of techniques. It is permitted to use weapons, grappling, takedowns, but every fighter must have on his mind that is a peace joust. So the fight is not to the death, and there is no reason to harm the opponent. A good control of the weapon and taking care of the opponent is a basic skill required to fight safely and to not occur in a bad judgment of the other knights. Mauro and Marco made a website where they record how many duels a knight had, points and weapons, a ranking for each deed of arms, and of course an annual ranking. In this way, a fighter is inspired to preserve his place and to fight better and better to be on top of the others, simply because other knights want to get on the top too. If you want to know more about the Rubeum Ferri, you can give a look in the video description, and you will find the link to the aforementioned website. And remember, if you want to help me making videos, just check in the video description and you will find the link to my Patreon page. My patrons have access to a number of private videos, private articles, and also to a video diary, which I make between 2 and 4 times per month. This diary is named The Swordsman of the Dale, and it describes my experiences throughout tournaments, classes, seminars, study, interpretation, and all the events that happens during my martial art experience. As always, thanks for watching, and see you next time.